Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Independent Brokerage. My name's Howard Flash, and I'm the broker and owner of Roundtable Realty.
And I'm Erin Salem, Director of Marketing Director for Roundtable Realty. How was your weekend?
It was great.
Awesome. What'd you do?
I went to the Icemen Game on Saturday night.
I'll tell you what's funny about that. I went too.
Yeah, we were taken to the Icemen Game in the suites.
In the suites?
By Atlantic Trust Mortgage. That was very nice of you. Thank you, Atlantic Trust.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We had a blast.
We did.
Also, I didn't know anything about hockey, and I still don't, except that they can fight until they hit the ground, and then the refs break it up.
Yes, the refs do not want to get involved. It's dangerous, and, they're on skates. So it could be dangerous if they grab them. So they just let them slug it out.
I also learned that Jacksonville has a hockey team named the Icemen, and that Florida has a hockey team named the Florida Everblades.
Oh, that's so cool, right?
And
Everblades?
so Jacksonville played
Florida.
Yeah.
That happens in lots of sports leagues.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. At any rate, we had a great time. Thanks so much to the guys at Atlantic Trust Mortgage.
Yes, but I will say one thing. There was no food in the suite. No food in the suite.
No, and part of that was because it was an exorbitant amount of money to order a hot dog platter.
Yeah. You could go downstairs and get a hot dog for like $6. $5.
Yeah.
Get some chili on top for maybe another $1.
Sure.
Some onions for 50 cents.
Delicious.
And the next thing you know, you want to order it in the suite, and 6 hot dogs is $120. I don't know who they think we are.
That's a hard pass.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. And by the way, that was like page 1 of the menu, so we didn't even get to the further pages.
You don't even want to know what a hamburger costs.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, so I ate somewhere else this weekend, too.
Oh, where'd you eat?
I ate at Tijuana Flats.
I love Tijuana Flats.
I do, too. I love me and my wife typically get the tostadas, the beef tostadas. We really like those.
Delicious.
Yes. The kids get quesadillas.
Yeah, my
really
kids
good.
always get quesadillas.
But I have a question for you.
Okay.
Does everything taste about the same there?
Yes.
It does, right? No, it's all good. I like it.
It is all good.
But
There's none of it I don't like.
Right, but I get out of my lane a little, try something new, and it's kind of like reminds me of the tostadas.
Yeah. The burritos, the tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all pretty much the same.
It's almost like they found a good spot, right? People like it, and they just aren't going to be...
Spread it out across a couple...
There.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep doing your thing.
I do love that place,
I
though.
do. I like it.
Yeah. And I love everything on the menu because it all
hits the right same spot.
That's right.
So keep doing what you're doing.
Never thought of that before.
Yeah. I even tried the fajita, like some sort of new fajita they have. It was good.
Yeah.
Tasted like the tostadas, which I like. It's good. All right, I want to touch on a real estate topic. Shocker.
Great. Thank goodness.
Right. So I'm going to talk about a weird time in a real estate transaction.
Okay.
Okay.
What's that?
We're leading up to closing. We're a few days prior to closing.
Tensions are running high.
Yes, the anxiety is very high. Mm-hmm. And sellers often start to freak out a little bit, and they start to run around their house doing all sorts of things, and they forget to leave, or they forget to take some of the stuff that's at the house.
Like their own stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Happens. They just forget and they leave stuff.
Something in a drawer or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you think happens with that stuff after closing? Like they go to closing, everybody closes?
Well, I know what happened when I closed and there was stuff in the garage. We contacted our real estate agent and said there's stuff in the garage. Would they like it?
Right. That can happen.
Yeah. And then they said no, and so we kept it.
That can happen.
Yeah. Okay, that happened. What else can happen?
You don't get it back.
Really?
Yeah, that can happen too.
So legally, they don't have to give it back to you?
So at closing, the buyer is taking the home as is at that moment.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, don't get me wrong. There are things that are contractual that buyers and sellers agree to, that I'm going to leave this, I'm going to take this.
Sure.
And that stuff carries. So you can't say, oh, well, you didn't take what you were supposed to, and that was in the contract, but we closed. Then you could end up in court.
Okay.
But there are many things that are not spelled out in the contract.
I did not know that.
So sellers have to clean their house before closing, and they call it brush clean.
Yes.
Okay, so they have to brush clean the house,
yes.
right? And then a a buyer is going to assume the house at
Yeah.
day of closing. They actually own technically the day of closing.
Okay.
And they're going to move in that day. And they're
So let me ask you this. What's the recourse if the house is not brush clean?
so this is actually a great question and a gray area in the contract. And what ends up happening is most realtors would fall back onto the category of, look, you have a buyer who wants to buy and a seller who wants to sell, right? They agree to terms.
Yes.
And typically these things do get worked out. Okay?
Meaning
but there's
what?
a gray area. Meaning sometimes
Somebody comes in and cleans it, or
right,
the buyer just
or
says
credit or things like that.
Okay.
But there can be different layers of what's clean to you, right?
Oh.
So that is
Oh.
an issue that does pop up.
Okay.
At times.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
What do you think happens about a week after closing?
Everybody goes on their merry way.
Something breaks. Something always breaks in a house.
Yeah.
Or the buyer sees something like, oh, I never noticed
that before. Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah, like when water started pouring out of our wall
Yeah.
in the laundry room a week after we bought our home.
Yeah.
That was a surprise as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that can happen too. And it does happen. Right? So there are different things that can be had to protect you from some of these things. Some
Okay.
of them are home warranties, which, by the way, some people are really, really for home warranties. I'm actually using a pad right here from Carly McCullum at Old Republic Home Protection.
Hi, Carly.
And there's other home warranty companies that people don't love and think that they're scams. And you know what?
I have one of those.
Everyone's going to have to go their own route and figure that out. But oftentimes what happens is they call their realtor. And
Right.
they
Because you're the expert.
Right.
We want to come back to you to know what to do next.
and they get really, really mad at the realtor and say, why didn't you know this?
Yeah.
Why didn't you say that? Or why didn't you point that out? And you have to remember, realtors are not home inspectors.
Right.
They can't inspect. They can't tell you what's wrong with the house. So there's a lot of caveats to closing and thereafter, and it becomes a stressful thing. But here's the thing I wanted to actually just finish on.
Okay.
Did you know that there's a law that applies to latent defects?
No.
There is.
Okay.
Okay.
What does it say?
A seller must disclose any known latent defects,
What does latent mean?
not readily observable,
Okay.
not readily observable, that materially affects the value of the home.
Oh, really?
Yep. So they have to disclose it. Guess who else has to disclose it?
The inspector?
The realtor.
The realtor?
How about that? So if a
Really?
realtor,
So
yes,
if the realtor knows.
if a realtor is selling a home for a seller,
Yeah.
and the seller whispers in his ear, hey, just so you know, that fireplace is going to fall off the back of that house in 3 years. I know that, but no one else knows that.
The realtor has to say
The realtor
something by
must-
law.
They have to. They are just as liable as the seller. They have to disclose that. And how about this? They have to disclose it even if they're not selling that home. Like if the seller goes, I'm firing you because you say you have to disclose that, right?
They still have to disclose
If
it.
if the listing agent then 3 months later has a buyer who wants to buy that home,
Oh,
he has to disclose that to the new buyer.
because he knows.
Because he knows. That's
So
absolutely
now
right.
I suppose it happens fairly often then that a seller knows something is wrong with their house and they just don't say anything.
Well, remember, it has to be latent. So, if the light is broken above you and
Yeah, but if
That's
the
readily
seller
observable.
knows that fire chimney, whatever, is going to fall off the back of the house in 3 years and they don't say anything, then there's no proof that they knew.
Well, let me tell you how this usually comes about.
Yeah.
Okay, so your lovely neighbor that has watched the plumber come to your home every month for the last 6 months,
Yes.
and they bring cookies to the new buyer, and they say, man, I never thought anyone was going to buy this house
What, with all the plumbing
septic
issues and all?
in this house.
Oh,
And you go,
wow.
huh, thanks for the cookies.
Really?
I didn't know that.
That's interesting.
Tell me more.
Yeah.
Our mentor that helped us actually start Roundtable Realty is a guy we've taken classes for forever. His name's Steve Walt from the Florida Real Estate Institute. And anytime somebody in the class would raise their hand and go, hey, do you need to disclose? And ... he goes, disclose. He can stop, just disclose.
Yeah.
Disclose,
Yeah.
disclose. Because God forbid you're the person that this falls back on.
That's right.
It'll be the end of your real estate career. You're going to buyers and sellers be unhappy with you. It's not
Yeah,
worth
why
it.
walk the tightrope?
Yep.
Just disclose it up
Disclose,
front.
you're better off
Yeah.
and do that.
And I know we all do that here.
Right.
That's a huge part of the daily conversation here. Of, oh, I've just found us out. You know, do I just? Yes, you disclose. I hear it. I hear that all the time. The disclose.
You know, there are certain things you can't disclose.
We talked about that the other day. Can't. Tell us some things that you can't.
Yeah. Right now, I thought we'd.
One or two things.
I don't know how long we're going right now, but you cannot disclose whether or not your house is haunted.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know.
Because you can't really be sure.
I guess if you live in like Amityville Horror House, maybe you should disclose that.
And probably the buyer already knows. So
Ryan Reynolds is running around the house at night.
There's a myriad of chainsaws in the garage. Yeah.
Maybe that's something to disclose.
Fair. So disclose. Unless your house is haunted. That's the takeaway. Everything at Tijuana Flats tastes the same. And our
good and the same.
Clear. And our ice hockey team is so-so.
Yes.
Like the rest of our sports teams.
Oh.
It's okay.
Tune in next time. That was brutal.
Oof, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
See you next week.
Bye.